Ever since the reveal of Battlefield 3, Operation Métro has been a brutal meat grinder that defined close quarters battle. It's a long and linear map known for its savage choke points and underground fighting that delivers constant chaos and unpredictability. It's set in the fictional Chardonnay Park in Paris, France. It's designed to be large and in transition to be claustrophobic. It's one of Battlefield 3's earliest maps, and it was also designed special for Rush. Operation Métro is based on the events of the War of 2014. In Battlefield 3's story, the United States forces are in Iran during peacekeeping operations. However, a coup leads to nuclear weapons being traded by arms dealers. Nukes were targeted towards America, and Russia was blamed. That situation dragged the US and Russia into a war on Iranian soil. However, one of the nuclear targets was France, so a battle across Paris streets occurred. The Russians have previously secured Chardonnay Park and accompanied it with surface-to-air missile sites. They have achieved complete area denial to the French forces. The French paratroopers were hoping to parachute in behind enemy lines, but were unable to due to the missiles placed at the park. The American Marine Corps platoon arrived on the offensive to help France with their surprise attack. However, French forces are reporting heavy casualties and require support from the Marine ground units. Due to the limited air support, France is finding it difficult to deploy enough units to the central districts of Paris. The Marines' primary objective are the Russian surface-to-air missiles. Once they are destroyed, the US forces can establish air superiority and begin a major ground assault. The battle leads to the French financial district, which the Americans hope to secure. Once they are destroyed, the US forces can establish air superiority and begin a major ground assault. The Russians attempt to defend the park, but once the Marines secure the area, no one can shoot down aircraft anymore. So American fighter jets arrive and airstrike the entire base, leading to the underground metro tunnels. Russians withdraw their forces deep into the metro station, and the close quarters battles begin. This is where the meat grinder comes in. Americans fight their way into the narrow train tunnels.
They got me locked down! Take your arms, man! Hostile man. Enemy soldier spotted, over.
With many corridors to choose from, the Russians attempt to push back the incoming Marines in the abandoned train station. They get pushed all the way out of the underground and forced back outside. The Russian ground forces withdrew from the metro and attempted to make a last-stand defense at the Paris Stock Exchange. It was located on the opposite side of the metro. However, as the US forces gain control of the area and establish a bigger presence, the Russians get cornered at the stock exchange. On the other side of the map features Seine Crossing, the other French map in Battlefield 3. On the other side of Operation Métro, another group of US forces are battling the Russians across the Seine River. The Marines manage to push the Russians back into the Bourse Stock Exchange. The Russian ground forces begin to get encircled as the Marines attack them from both sides. As the Marines are managing to take control of the area, a nuke goes off in Paris. However, that did not stop the fighting. Many years later, residents of the city attempted to rebuild what was remaining of the metro station. The train tunnels began to go under construction. Areas of the metro became flooded and the ceilings were starting to collapse. Sections of wooden poles tried to hold the walls up. However, in the middle of construction, the war broke out again. US ground forces battled against Russians for the war-torn financial district, starting the brutal meat grinder once again.
For 2 years we've listened to the tales of our fellow soldiers, but the war has changed, and with it the stories. Stories of men being swallowed up whole in the flooded bowels of Metro. For 2 years we've heard these stories. Listen to the legends. They say this is a war that cannot be won. We'll put that theory to the test.
Here's your first aid.
Operation Métro involved US Marine ground forces arriving to help the French military against the Russian forces who were contesting the financial district near the metro station. This is one of the first maps revealed in Battlefield 3, and it was the first map we played on during the beta. It was shown in 2011, and it cemented Battlefield 3 Rush as a special chaotic and team game mode. Do you remember the Battlefield 3 beta? What were your core memories from the map? Thanks for watching.